virtual cup of tea. Good Shabbos, everybody. Good Yom Tov. Good Shabbos, good Yom Tov. Good Shabbos, good Yom Tov. So, I asked you to pay attention when I was reading from the Torah this morning. The verses, well, all of the verses are important, but the verses specifically that Moses instructed the children of Israel. If you think that the Torah that I'm giving you, teaching you, instructing you is far away, don't think that it's over the sea, that who would possibly be able to go across and bring it back to us. Don't think, Lo b'shamayim hi, don't think that it's up in the sky so far away that we can't bring it down. Lo, b'ficha u'vilvavecha la'asoto. It is close, very, very close. In fact, it's in your mouth, it's in your heart in order to do it. As I said in the introduction, the Torah portion describes the moment that the children of Israel are about to come home, to cross over the Jordan River into the promised land that their ancestors had lived in, but they had been exiled from for 500 years. 400 years of slavery in Egypt, 40 years of wandering around the desert, and now finally they are about to come home. I don't know if you have been watching the images of the Hurricane Milton in USA. I don't usually do these things, but now I have a brother who lives in Atlanta, Georgia, so you kind of have to pay attention to these things now, when it's close, when it's personal. Devastation, people killed, destroyed homes, destroyed lives. And it made me think that with this natural destruction, this hurricane that is passing through, just how much destruction we as human beings have invoked in the last year in this world. And pick a continent, pick a place in the world where we have not seen such devastation and destruction. Of course, there are some images that hit us more than others. How does one return home when home might not even exist? How can one feel at home when you have been moved forcibly from your home by war? We stand, Atem Nitzavim, are the opening verses that we read today. The children of Israel are standing on the Jordan River, on the banks of the Jordan River, about to go into the promised land. And we are standing at a time, maybe that I have certainly not experienced in my life. I've been very blessed in my life to be sheltered from war, to see it as images, as media reports, and now to feel the full impact of it, and to see what it means when home is not available physically for people because they have been moved from their homes, physically for people because their homes have been destroyed, and also for us when we feel like our community that should be our home is under threat from outside and from within, to make us feel that the ground beneath us has been shaken. Does the Torah give us tools to deal with this? You'll know my answer to that one. On a global level, on a national level, on a communal level, and for many of us on a personal level, home right now feels like a very, very complicated concept. Moses says to the children of Israel, Atem nitzavim hayom, all of you are standing here today, and then goes to name all the different categories of people that might be standing in front, and then to say, but not just you who are standing here today, but those who aren't with you. Those who, and how do we understand that? Not just those who weren't part of the crossing over into the promised land, but even those who were not yet born. Us. We were standing at that moment on the shore of the Jordan River, about to cross over into the promised land. And that lets us ask the question, what is our Jordan River? What is our promised land? What is our home? I'm going to suggest that home is where you are standing. Where we stand right now is home. And the only way that we can stabilize the hurricane that is blowing around us and the ground that is shaking beneath our feet is to look at those tools that Moses gives to the children of Israel to say, if we think that the home, the world, the security that I'm seeking is far away, it's not. And if you think that it is out of your control to achieve, it's not. I'm not suggesting that we are world leaders. I'm not suggesting that we are the generators of war. But I am suggesting that we have tools to be able to create home, whatever the scenario, whatever the situation, whatever the challenge that besets us, and that it is not far from us. Beficha uvilvavacha la'asoto. What do I mean by that? Beficha. It's the way that we speak. You've heard many times I've invoked the fact that God created the world with language. God spoke the world into being. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And we who are made in the divine image, who have been given the gift of speech, we create worlds with our words. Beficha. It's the way that we speak. It's the language that we use. It's the way that we describe what we see and the way that we interact with people, whether that is language on our phones, language that comes out of our mouths. Moses asks us, as we stand at this moment in history, to pay attention to the way that we speak. We have a tool that is God-given to create worlds, a powerful tool. Some of us use that for advocacy, to advocate for a position that you feel passionate about. And that's absolutely what our voice is given for. We are instructed to speak to our values. What we need to know is that those values are understood differently by different people. And the way that they speak passionately about what they believe in may well be seen as causing offense because it is so different to mine. I'm not suggesting that anybody should stop speaking. I'm suggesting the opposite. We need to speak. We need to advocate for the values and principles that we believe in. And we should know that as we do that, somebody might hear those words as devastating because they are different to their values and their beliefs. And that's where it moves to the second phrase that Moses spoke about, bilvavacha, in your heart. There are two words for heart that are used in Torah. One is lev, one is levav. Both mean the same thing. They both mean heart. This one you'll recognize from the Shema, from the Va'ahavta, b'chol levavacha, with all your heart. One of the Midrashim explains why it is that double bet that is chosen instead of just lev. Why levav? Because we know that within our heart there are two urges. There is a Yetzer Hara and there is a Yetzer HaTov. There is an inclination to evil and there is an inclination to good. Just to explain the rabbinic understanding of the Yetzer Hara, does it mean that we are bad? The Yetzer Hara is the engine room of desire. If we only had a Yetzer HaTov, we would be like angels. What do angels do all day? Well, first they don't eat, but all day they praise God. Wow, God, you are so amazing. Just love what you've done with this world, those flowers, great job. That's all angels have to do all day. Something you want me to do? Sure, God, I'll do it. The Yetzer Hara, which we have been gifted with, lets us look around at the world and go, this is not good enough. I want more. I want a big house. I want a great family. I want to be fit. I want to be strong. I want to be rich. I want to be powerful. I want to learn Tai Chi. I want to do handstands on the beach. I want it all and I want it now. And I'm going to go and get it. That's the Yetzer Hara. Is that terrible? No. And when we live in the balance of Yetzer HaTov and Yetzer Hara, we know what is good, and we know that we sometimes have to push the boundaries a little bit to get what we feel we need in this world. Tov and Ra in balance, perfection. But we know during the year that the balance slips a little bit. And Yom Kippur is our correction, it's our reset. It's our time to come back and just evaluate if we got the balance right in the last year. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. Maybe there's some adjustments and some tweaks that we need to make. So when we speak, when we advocate, much of the time we're trying to persuade. We're trying to tell somebody else that what we've said is right. And when we do that, we understand that what they believe is wrong. And maybe if we tell them again, or maybe if we tell them in different words, or maybe if we tell them in a stronger language, they will be persuaded to our point of view. I'm going to suggest that might not be the best path to go forward in this world. Speak what we need to speak, and then open our hearts to see the response. Not everybody is going to say, thank you so much. I really, really needed that YouTube video link today sent to me. Not everybody is going to respond that way. And some people might unfriend, and some people might leave the room, and some people might get angry and want to come in combat. I'm not suggesting don't speak. I am suggesting speak with heart. Advocate for what we believe is right in this world. Don't be afraid to rock the boat. Don't be afraid to go big and daven for everything that we want in our hearts and in our voices. And realize that there are impacts to the worlds that we build with our words, and that we need to take the consequences of that impact. Our hearts are big. Our hearts can hold so much. And right now we are called to hold so much. Can we make them a bit bigger this Yom Kippur? Can we stretch them to hold more? And then we come to the third. Baficha uvilvavacha la'asoto. In your mouth, in your heart, to do it. It's one thing to sit in shul on Yom Kippur, which we must do, to marinate in the beauty of this gift of this day, to have the opportunity to reflect and reset, to give us targets to work towards in this world. And the rabbis tell us, as soon as you have eaten something tonight, go and knock in the first nail to build the sukkah. We need to speak, we need to open hearts, and we need to do. Our hands are the hands of God in this world. And if we want to see a different world, we need to make it. Once again, different people will show up in different ways, and that's fine. My vision of a healthy Jewish community is one where Temple Israel is thriving, is one where Chabad is thriving, and Marais Road, and Gardens, and Claremont, and Constantia, and Herzliya, and Highlands House, and Ponevezh, and Cape Town Torah High, and the Zionist Federation, and the Jewish Board of Deputies, and the South African Jews for a Free Palestine, and every single organization, every single group, every single expression of Judaism should have an opportunity to thrive in the city. And we should be cheering for the diversity of it. We should say, wow, look at what this tiny Jewish community of 12,000 Jews can do. Amazing. Do I need to agree with every single thing that is said? No. Some of it will be deeply offensive to me. Some of it will not be my values and will not speak to the Judaism that I believe in and practice. But does that mean that I should not celebrate it? That it can exist and be? That there are people who will stand up in the morning passionately to make that happen? Why couldn't we have a newsletter that went out every week from the Jewish community of Cape Town that said, here's what Chabad is doing this week, here's what Temple Israel has on, here's what's at Highlands House. Why could we not advertise every single thing that is happening in this Jewish community and cheer for it, even if it conflicts with each other? One of the greatest values of the Talmud is that in getting to the halakha, it records every single disagreement, both the majority that wins the argument and the minority that loses the argument, all are cited, because they were rabbis sitting in the Beit Midrash who cared deeply about Judaism and Torah and halakha. And even if their opinion was not the one that became the halakha, it came from a deep place of Torah commitment. It was valued, it is preserved, and it is studied to this day. So let's open our hearts a little bit bigger to include those voices that are not in our silo, that don't come up on our feed, that contradict fundamentally the world that we are trying to build. But their intention, where they are generated from, is the same place that ours are. This is hard, much harder than fasting. So what I'm going to suggest for us this Yom Kippur and this year ahead, to be conscious of the power of our words. The worlds that we will build will exist just because we speak them into being. Use that power well. Make sure that they come from a huge and open heart. And don't just speak, do. Please, take your hands right now Place them on your mouth. Be aware that in this year to come, we will do much speaking. This Yom Kippur, may we immerse in holy words. Take your hands and place them over your heart. Let's say to our hearts, can you open a little bit more? Can we live more generously? Can we live more fully and openly to the possibility that there are many ways? Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim chayim. Both these and those are words of the living God. And then open our hands. Beficha uvilvavacha la'asoto. We are called to be fixers, to repair this world that we live in. These hands are the hands of God in this world. Beficha uvilvavacha la'asoto. I know that what I've said is not easy. I didn't sign up for easy. Any rabbi that doesn't get an email after Yom Kippur asking, I need to meet with you, Rabbi, because of what you said, is not doing their job. But I am willing to sit with anybody and talk about how you understand these words. And I'm willing to, at the end of that conversation, even if we disagree, to open hearts together for a beautiful hug and to wish you well, that this year should be a year of blessing, a year of joy, a year that we should see peace outside and within, and that our prayers are answered. Gamar Khatima Tova. So we are entering the Slichot service, and yet again another beautiful tool that Yom Kippur gives us to say we don't have to be perfect, we just have to strive to do the best that we can, and when we fail, we can stand here on Yom Kippur and we can say, God, I set the bar high, I didn't get there, but I'm pushing. I want to be the best me that I can be. Help me to get there. And so we open our hearts. Gina, if you can join me on page 292.
We stand in humility.
We stand aside.
We stand in humility, conscious of all of our failings. Shema Kolenu, Adonai, hear our